Welcome to our deep dive into corporate climate strategies in the Trump 2.0 era, how companies are adapting. In this video, we'll explore the complex landscape companies face as they navigate ongoing policy shifts, regulatory rollbacks, and growing public scrutiny surrounding climate initiatives. From giants like McDonald's and Walmart to tech leaders such as Apple and Meta, we'll unpack how each is strategizing to meet sustainability goals while managing pressures from both federal and state levels. Join us as we reveal the innovative approaches and challenges these corporations are encountering in their quest for greener practices in an uncertain political environment. 1. Federal rollbacks and state resistance. The regulatory tug-of-war. In 2025, the landscape of U.S. climate policy is marked by a stark contrast between federal and state actions. The Trump administration, echoing its first term, has prioritized fossil fuel expansion and rolled back federal climate regulations. This includes withdrawing from the Paris Agreement and halting funding from the Inflation Reduction Act, IRA. However, many states, notably California, are resisting these changes. They are implementing their own stringent environmental laws, such as SB 253, which mandates emissions disclosures for large companies. This creates a complex regulatory environment where corporations must navigate between federal deregulation and state accountability. For instance, while ExxonMobil and Chevron are scaling back renewable investments under federal policies, tech giants like Google and Microsoft are continuing their decarbonization efforts to comply with state and EU sustainability directives. 2. McDonald's. Navigating supply chain pressures and greenwashing risks. McDonald's, a global fast food giant, faces increasing scrutiny over its sustainability claims. The company has pledged to achieve net zero emissions by 2050, but 2025 brings new challenges. The EU's Green Claims Directive and California's SB 253 are compelling McDonald's to audit its supply chain, particularly concerning deforestation-linked beef and poultry sourcing. Despite federal rollbacks, McDonald's is expanding its plant-based menu options in progressive states to meet consumer demand for low-carbon choices. A 2024 Nielsen IQ study highlights that 58% of Gen Z consumers prefer brands with verified sustainability claims. This trend pressures McDonald's to avoid greenwashing while maintaining profitability, ensuring that their sustainability efforts are genuine and transparent. 3. Facebook, Meta, data centers and energy realities. Meta, formerly known as Facebook, operates data centers that consume vast amounts of energy. In 2025, despite Trump's pro-fossil fuel policies, Meta remains committed to renewable energy targets. The company has accelerated investments in solar and wind projects, particularly in Texas and Iowa, capitalizing on IRA tax credits before they expire. However, the federal suspension of offshore wind permits has delayed plans to power East Coast data centers with wind energy. This has forced Meta to rely more on carbon offsets, a strategy criticized for potential greenwashing. To combat this, Meta is piloting AI-driven energy efficiency tools aiming to reduce data center emissions by 20% by 2026, aligning with EU Corporate Sustainability Reporting Directive (CSRD) requirements. 4. Walmart. Solar expansion versus anti-ESG backlash. Walmart is a prime example of the Corporate Balancing Act in 2025. The retail giant is expanding solar installations in California, complying with state regulations like SB 253. However, similar projects in Texas have been halted due to anti-ESG laws that penalize fossil fuel divestment. This has increased Walmart's compliance costs by an estimated 4% of its annual revenue, according to Boston Consulting Group, BCG. Additionally, Walmart is restructuring its textile sourcing to avoid Xinjiang cotton, responding to the Uyghur Forced Labor Prevention Act and EU deforestation regulations. This dual approach highlights the complexities companies face in navigating differing state and federal policies. 5. Tesla. IRA tax credits and state mandates. Tesla is strategically leveraging surviving IRA incentives, such as the $7,500 electric vehicle (EV) tax credit, to maintain its dominance in the U.S. market despite Trump's revocation of Biden's 2030 EV sales goal. California's 2035 ban on gas-powered cars ensures continued demand for Tesla's products. However, the company faces criticism for lagging in reducing Scope 3 emissions, which encompass the entire value chain. To address this, Tesla is vertically integrating battery production in Nevada, reducing reliance on Chinese minerals and aligning with CHIPS Act subsidies. This strategy aims to bolster Tesla's sustainability credentials while navigating a challenging regulatory environment. 6. Chevron. Gas as a transition fuel. Chevron is capitalizing on Trump's pro-drilling policies by expanding its liquefied natural gas, LNG, exports to Europe, which surged by 25% following the Ukraine war. Despite this expansion, Chevron's $15 billion annual fossil fuel budget overshadows its $10 billion commitment to lower carbon initiatives, drawing lawsuits from California over climate risk disclosures. This contradiction highlights the gap between Chevron's public commitments and its actual investments. While Chevron's carbon capture investments total $3 billion, they represent just 3% of its 2024 profits, raising questions about the sincerity of its sustainability efforts. 7. Ford. Electrification amid policy chaos. Ford is navigating a tumultuous policy environment while pushing forward with its electrification plans. The automaker's $3.5 billion investment in a Michigan EV battery plant, funded partly by IRA grants, remains on track despite federal uncertainties. However, reshoring mineral sourcing to comply with EU and US forced labor laws has delayed production timelines. Ford is actively lobbying for permitting reforms to fast-track lithium mines in Nevada. This highlights the challenges automakers face in balancing compliance with evolving regulations and maintaining momentum in the EV market. 8. J.P. Morgan Chase. Splitting sustainability roles. J.P. Morgan Chase is adapting to the politicized ESG debates by dividing its sustainability team into compliance and voluntary initiatives. The bank continues to finance fossil fuel projects in Texas while expanding green bonds in California, reflecting the fragmented regulatory landscape. This dual approach allows J.P. Morgan to navigate varying state policies while pursuing its sustainability goals. By aligning its operations with both compliance and market-driven sustainability efforts, J.P. Morgan is positioning itself to thrive in a complex regulatory environment. 9. Apple. EU compliance and supplier audit. Apple is intensifying audits of its Asian suppliers to meet the EU's Corporate Sustainability Due Diligence Directive, CSDDD, which mandates human rights and environmental checks. The tech giant faces fines of up to 5% of global revenue for non-compliance, pushing it to invest $200 million in supplier decarbonization programs. This proactive approach reflects Apple's commitment to sustainability and its recognition of the importance of aligning with international standards. By ensuring compliance with EU regulations, Apple is safeguarding its reputation and maintaining its position as a leader in corporate sustainability. 10. Delta Airlines. Greenwashing litigation. The idea of a black hole swallowing an entire galaxy is dramatic, but it's exceedingly unlikely. The vast distances within a galaxy and the relatively slow, feeding, process of black holes make such a scenario improbable on any human or even stellar timescale. It's akin to an ant trying to eat an entire mountain. The sheer scale makes the task impossible. While black holes are powerful, their influence is limited by the expanse of space. The notion of galactic consumption remains a captivating concept for science fiction, but in reality, the cosmos operates on a much more measured scale. For now, the Milky Way and its inhabitants can rest easy, knowing that such a fate is not on the horizon.